Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in Freshman English, and we now turn in your hymnals and unit 4, our poetry unit, to page 752753 in Alice Walker's classic Women. Now let's talk a few seconds about Alice Walker over on page 749. She was born in 1944, and from the age of 8 she kept a journal and wrote poems. Today Walker is an acclaimed novelist, essay, and poet. Her works include the great novel The Color Purple, which was made into a movie and a Broadway show. We will study more Alice Walker in our junior year. Our goal here is to work with this. Do you see it at the top of 752? Exemplar text. This is one of those really important texts for us. Let's read a little bit of background information on bottom of 752. In Women, the speaker praises African American women who fought for public school desegregation in the American South. Until the 1950s, African American and white students attended different schools in the South. In 1954, you want to write that one down. In 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that segregated public schools was unconstitutional. All right, let's turn now to this text. We'll listen to a reading of it, and then we'll go to work in terms of interpreting.
Women by Alice Walker. They were women then, my mama's generation, husky of voice, stout of step, with fists as well as hands. How they battered down doors and ironed starched white shirts. How they led armies, head-ragged generals across mined fields, booby-trapped ditches to discover books, desks, a place for us. How they knew what we must know without knowing a page of it themselves.
All right, now let's take a look at this poem. This is one of those examples of a brilliant, brilliant text that starts out looking so unbelievably simple. First of all, though, let's go back for a second to page 748. And let's remind ourselves that we are comparing literary works as we are studying a text like this. And this is not a sonnet. This is not haiku. This is what we call free verse. Yes? And so fundamentally it's going to look a little bit different, and it's going to act a little bit different. We might see this one in comparison to Whitman's I Hear America Singing at 3A already in terms of the way the form works. So for example, notice that line 4 of this poem is a single word. You see it? Line 6 is a single word. You see it? Right? And so obviously this is much different than a sonnet, for example, or haiku. This is a very open form, we might say. Now right away, let's already point out some of the powerful techniques that Alice Walker is going to be using. First of all, she begins with the word they. They were women then. Right? That is to say, she is clearly working with heritage here. She's working with legacy by the end of the poem, heritage to begin with. That is to say, backwards looking and forwards looking. And this is a tribute poem to my mama's generation. Go ahead and jot down the diction that's important with the word mama, as opposed to mother, or as opposed to mom. Of course, here we're celebrating African American women who, long before they ever had the chance of legitimate education, knew something, Alice Walker will say, or the speaker of our poem will say, right? What is it that we're going to say about these warriors? Well, warriors is the right word, because the word picture here is war. That is significant. Alice Walker is going to argue these women were warriors. They were fighters in a battle that matters to you and to me. In other words, the ones who came before, right? Notice, what kinds of women were they? Husky of voice, line 3. Stout of step. They were strong. This takes us back at 3A to the comments that were made in Whitman's I Hear America Singing about that strong, melodious voice. They're stout of step. This stout of step, put it in your notes as well, suggests that they had an understanding and a direction, an intentionality to what they were doing. They understood all along that if you don't fight for the things that matter, those things that matter will never actually come to fruition. Notice, with fists as well as hands. In other words, they were ready to fight in any way that they could to achieve something. how they battered down doors and iron starch white shirts. The significance of the starch and the white, of course, is going to play powerful games in terms of juxtapositions. By the way, this notion of battering down doors is powerful because the doors represent, don't they, the things that keep us from being able to accomplish what we want to accomplish. By the way, let's point out already, she's not yet told us what they were fighting for, right? We'll get to that one. Right now she's just telling us these women of my mama's generation, they were strong women, right? Keep going. How, notice the repetition of the how word. How they, right, led armies, head-ragged generals, right, to have their hair up, across mined fields, booby-trapped kitchens, to discover books, desks, a place for us. Now this is compelling stuff. Our word picture here is those women of another generation, those people of another generation, the stuff that has been done so that you can have the opportunities that you have. Discovery of books and desks, that is to say, schools, education. It will be for us at 3A in your junior year, our study of Frederick Douglass, the great emancipated slave, and he will say it, if you are uneducated, you are a slave. And there's a reason why those southern slave owners didn't allow their slaves to learn to read. Because the minute you can read, you can be free, right, in your mind. You can begin to ask questions. So here, notice, it's about discovering something. So notice the violent language, the violent word picture of war and fighting, which leads then to, ironically, the discovery of books and desks. And then she says it, a place for us. A place for us. This is, of course, so important in understanding American history. I'll say a lot about this in your junior year. And by the way, I've given full lectures, much fuller lectures on Alice Walker in my junior offering. And you can go to learnstrong.net and watch those lectures. You don't have to be a junior to watch those lectures, where I celebrate what it is that Alice Walker wants us to celebrate, namely the power of an education. When you finally can learn something, then of course you're capable of freedom, true freedom, and find a place. Because before you're educated, you don't have a place in a democracy. You have to be educated to have a place where you feel like you belong. By the way, at 3A, you'll study in your senior year Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. And there you'll have the same kind of understanding that you have to have a place. You have to have a place where you feel like you belong. And if you don't have that place, then obviously you have to fight for that place. But what about the people who came before you who fought for that place? This is a tribute poem. Again, this is about legacy now. This becomes increasingly about you. Watch how she finishes. How they, those amazing warriors, knew what we must know without knowing a page of it themselves. In other words, let's put it in our notes at 2A for themes and messages. Those who came before sacrificed greatly. They had to fight certain kinds of battles so you didn't have to fight those battles. That is to say, their gift to you. Which obviously begs an interesting question. Number 2, major message and theme. Do we celebrate and respect those who came before? Do we show proper respect? In other words, what she's saying is some of those people couldn't read because they hadn't been educated. They were illiterate. And yet they knew something without ever reading any of the books. They didn't need to read Plato's Republic to understand the power of the emancipated mind. They understood what needed to happen. They did the hard work so that you have the opportunity of an education. By the way, the you who we're speaking about here isn't just African Americans. It's everyone. Because we're all benefiting, regardless of skin color. We're all benefiting, regardless of gender, when we're all in a democracy educated together. It's pivotal, right? Finally, theme number 3, message number 3. It's kind of a challenge, isn't it? If they fought for your right for an education, what is it that you are fighting for the next generation? What do you hand on to the next generation? That's important. There's always oppression which needs to be addressed. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. said, and of course, I think it's equally clear here. Let's jump to 2b really quickly. Notice how this poem works. Notice the power of the staccato-like single-word lines, right? Notice the way in which there's a rhythm here. And again, you want to read the thought, not just the line. They were women then, my mama's generation. Notice the absence of any kind of punctuation after the word generation. Husky of voice, dash, reminding us, of course, of Emily Dickinson in our study. Stout of step, with fists as well as hands. How they battered down. Notice the rhythms as well here, the beautiful rhythms. How they battered down doors. Are you hearing all that B and D and T sounds, right? It's a striking sound. In other words, it's the what is it, how does it work? We've got sounds which help to play the game as well. Notice the poem begins with the word they and ends with themselves. It's beautifully constructed at level 2B. Let's jump to level 3A. What is the text for you that celebrates the sacrifices of those who came before? It may have been in war. It may have been in politics. What is it for you? Of course, let's go ahead right away as freshmen and write down our study of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. No question those two go together well, right? I mentioned already Plato's Republic, a textual study when you are a senior. Plato's Republic argues that the most important thing in your life is your education. Without that, as the great emancipated slave Frederick Douglass said, without that, without your education, you are nothing more than a slave. Why? Because you can be told what to do and you can't fight back if you don't have an education. Finally, at 3B, this question. Who are the, now I can speak symbolically using our title of this poem, who are the women of your life? Who are the ones who sacrificed to give you the opportunities? Who do you most respect in that regards? And we've asked the question, now we'll ask it again at 3B. What specifically do you think you will contribute to your generations? Breaking down barriers, battering down doors. Because if there's anything Alice Walker's texts will remind us of, it is that in America, we are always fighting for greater freedoms, for greater opportunities. It's fundamental to who we are as Americans. Well, I hope that the study will lead you to more study of the great Alice Walker. Maybe you can pick up her classic novel, Color Purple. I very much recommend it to you as well. Thank you.